Young Thug has reportedly signed Quavo to his record label after publicly telling him to leave Capitol Records. But that was just the beginning. He also announced Quavo as his 2026 tour opener, leaving Gunna completely out of the picture. According to reports, Gunna isn't too happy about it. There's a lot of drama surrounding all of this. Let me break it down. It happened during a live stream. Young Thug sat down with Aiden Ross and dropped the news himself. He's going on his first tour since getting out of jail, kicking off in 2026, built around his album Ooh Why Scooty, and he didn't just announce a tour. He named his opener right there on camera, Quavo. That's who Thug said he's bringing with him. During the live stream, Thug confirmed he will launch a global run in 2026 to support Ooh Why Scooty, with Quavo already locked in as part of the lineup. He didn't leave it vague either. The two are set to perform their collaboration Spider or Jeffrey together on the road. That's not a guest verse buried on a track list. That's a cosign, a stage, a spotlight, night after night. Thug laid it out plainly. I'm going on tour to begin the next year. I'm gonna take a few people, he said. Quavo, that's one person that's going on it. He added more names would come later, but Quavo's name was the one he chose to say out loud, first, unprompted. Now here's where it gets pointed. In that same conversation, somebody asked Thug directly about Gunna. Not about the tour, not about the album, about the guy who used to be his closest collaborator. The one who broke out under his label. The one whose name used to be attached to his at the hip. Thug didn't dodge it, even as he celebrated the album and geared up for the tour. Thug admitted one bridge has yet to be repaired, dismissing the idea of reconciliation when asked about Gunna. His words were short, cold even. I don't know, he said. As of right now, I don't think that can happen. It's monotonous. Like why? Think about the contrast there. In one breath, Thug's naming Quavo as his tour opener, talking about performing their song together in front of thousands of people a night. In the very next breath, when Gunna's name comes up, he shuts it down in 4 words. It's monotonous, like why that's not a maybe, that's not we're working on it. Monotonous, like why that's not a maybe, that's not we're working on it. That's a door closing. And it wasn't a one-off comment he walked back either. On another appearance, this time on the It's Up There podcast, Thug was asked again about who's riding with him and who isn't. One artist Young Thug won't be working with anytime soon is his former collaborator, Gunna, and he confirmed during the Aiden Ross stream that he doesn't expect the two to make amends anytime soon. 2 separate interviews, 2 separate chances to soften it. Both times Thug picked the same answer. Not now, maybe not ever. Meanwhile, look at who did make the cut for Ooh Why Scooty. Thug pulled in Ken Carson, Cardi B, T.I., Lil Baby, Sexy Red, YFN Lucci 21 Savage, Travis Scott, Lil Goated, 1300 Saint Future, and Mariah the Scientist on top of Quavo. That's a guest list built from almost every corner of the culture. Lil Baby's on there. The same Lil Baby who publicly went at Gunna over the plea deal years back. He's on the album. Gunna's not. Thug even addressed the chatter about who did or didn't show up for him. Don't believe the hype, he said. They say I pulled the album back because I ain't get the features. Who y'all thought wasn't gonna be on the album? They're on the album. He was drawing a line under speculation that the industry had turned its back on him after his leaked jail calls went public. But the one name conspicuously absent from that reassurance was Gunna's. So here's where the picture sits at the top of this story. Thug's got a tour. He's got an opener. He's got a song picked out to perform live with that opener. And when it comes to the guy who used to be attached to nearly every project he dropped for the better part of a decade, Thug's answer is that reconciliation isn't happening. Not soon. Maybe not at all. That's the moment everyone's reacting to Quavo stepping into a spot that, not too long ago, would have obviously belonged to Gunna. To understand why this cut's so deep, and why Gunna's side of this has gone from public support to complete silence, you have to go back to where this relationship actually broke. To understand why one 4-word answer landed like a gut punch, you need the backstory. Because Gunna and Young Thug weren't just label mates. Gunna came up through Thug's world completely. Sergio Kitchens, that's Gunna's real name, was introduced to Thug through mutual friends back in Atlanta. He signed to YSL Records and 300 Entertainment and issued Drip Season in 2016, the first tape in a run that built his whole sound. From there, it snowballed fast. His national breakthrough came alongside Lil Baby on Drip Harder in 2018, and Drip Too Hard reached the Hot 100 Top 5 before going diamond. Thug wasn't just his label boss. He was the reason Gunna had a platform at all. Then came 2022, and everything changed in one afternoon. Both rappers were arrested following a 56-count RICO indictment against members of Thug's YSL Records. Prosecutors in Georgia were building one of the biggest gang cases in the state's history, and Thug and Gunna were sitting right in the middle of it together. Gunna didn't stay in it long. In December of that year, he took an Alford plea deal and was released. An Alford plea is a strange legal animal. It lets a defendant plead guilty while still maintaining innocence. Gunna walked. Thug didn't. The trial that followed became the longest criminal trial in Georgia's history, and it only ended after Thug pled guilty to gang, drug, and gun charges, and was released in October 2024. Almost 2 years separate those two release dates. 2 years where one man was free to build his career, and the other was still sitting in a courtroom. And it's what Gunna said to get out that's never stopped following him. As part of his plea, he admitted that YSL was a music label and a gang, and that he had personal knowledge that members of YSL had committed crimes in furtherance of it, telling the court YSL as a gang must end. That statement was read out loud, on record, in front of everyone, to Thug's camp. Those words functioned like a testimony against the very thing he'd built his name on. Gunna's team has pushed back on the idea that any of this hurt Thug specifically. His attorney, Steve Sato, maintained that his client did not cooperate with authorities to impact Thug and other members of the YSL case. Gunna eventually pleaded to a single charge. He was sentenced to a 5-year suspended sentence and released due to time served. But the label of snitch doesn't care about legal nuance once it's out. Lil Baby and Lil Durk, both close collaborators of Thug, publicly denounced Gunna for the plea in December 2022. And the accusation stuck to Gunna in a way that no amount of hit records could shake off. Even while Thug was still locked up, the freeze was visible in the music. Gunna was left off of Thug's June 2023 album, Business is Business entirely. No feature, no mention. And it went further than just an absence. At a festival performance of their collaborative record, Ski, Thug had Gunna's name muted out of the backing track and refused to rap the line himself. That's a level of erasure you don't do to someone you're just annoyed with. That's someone actively editing another man out of his own catalog. For a while, there was a flicker of hope. When Thug entered his own guilty plea and was freed, he specifically asked for the ability to speak to and work with his former mentee again, a detail that had fans thinking a reunion was actually coming. It didn't happen. Whatever conversation was supposed to follow that request never turned into music, never turned into a public reconciliation, never turned into anything beyond a rumor. By the time Thug walked out of that courtroom in 2024, the two men who used to finish each other's verses hadn't worked together in years, and the silence between them had already hardened into something that looked permanent. That's the foundation underneath everything that's happened since, including the tattoo, including the album title, including the tour announcement that finally made it official on stage. If the RICO case was the fracture, 2025 is when the crack became impossible to ignore. And it started with a tattoo. Gunna had YSL inked on his arm for years, a permanent mark of the label and the crew that raised him in the industry. Then a photo surfaced showing something new sitting over top of it, a cover-up. A photo that went viral showed Gunna with what appeared to be a cover-up over his well-known YSL tattoo. Thug saw it, and Thug commented right there in the replies, under a post that had nothing to do with him directly. Thug wrote something that instantly went everywhere. I mean, he said it must end LOL. He posted. That line wasn't random. It was a callback, and a sharp one. Thug was referencing Gunna's own words from his plea hearing. The statement read by prosecutors where Gunna said, "I recognize, acknowledge, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end." Thug took Gunna's own courtroom language and threw it back at him, turning an apology meant for a judge into a punchline aimed at the tattoo removal. It got worse from there in the quiet ways that hurt the most. Fans noticed that any mention of Gunna on the official YSL label Instagram had been scrubbed from existence entirely. Not deleted in anger, not a big statement, just quietly wiped, like he'd never been part of the roster at all. Then Thug dropped his album, and the lyrics did what the Instagram comments couldn't fully say. On Money with Future, Thug raps about people who tell on others for nothing, and how he still has to call them friends. These fuck in-gas telling for nothing, and I gotta be the one calling them friends. Fans connected the line straight back to Gunna within minutes of the album dropping. Gunna, for his part, has mostly avoided direct combat. When he has spoken about the snitching label, he's kept it philosophical rather than confrontational. "I definitely feel like everybody's been misled," he said in one interview. And when you're being misled, you got a choice to follow or make your own decisions. And that's what is being shown right now. He's talking about people choosing to follow a narrative rather than think for themselves, but notably, he's not naming Thug, not firing back, not escalating. That restraint held for a while. Then this year, the tension spilled into real life, no captions needed. While Thug was browsing inside a store, Gunna's 2020 track "Dollar Is On My Head" started playing over the speakers, and Thug immediately asked an employee to change it, repeating the request to make sure it was heard, until the song was switched. No comment, no caption. Just a man refusing to stand in a room while his former partner's song played, and making sure everyone around him saw it. There was also the strange moment involving a leaked jail call. Thug addressed Quavo after a leaked call took a jab at the Migos, later posting a message calling him Brada and referencing Takeoff. The reaction online was split right down the middle. One commenter wrote, "Thug said, 'I'll find me a friend. Let me pick Quavo. I didn't talk about him.' While another shot back, 'Oh, so Offset worked with Gunna and now you love Quavo.' Even fans were noticing the pattern. Thug reaching toward Quavo publicly while the Gunna door stayed shut. And Gunna hasn't been posting nothing either. Gunna has shared cryptic posts using phrases like "switched up on" and "counted out," which fueled speculation he was responding to criticism from Thug. And Thug's own reaction read like a rebuttal to that entire narrative. It's a back and forth conducted almost entirely in subtext. Nobody saying names, everybody understanding exactly who's being talked about. So by the time Thug sat down with Aiden Ross and named Quavo as his tour opener, none of it came out of nowhere. The tattoo cover-up, the muted lyric, the scrubbed Instagram page, the store, the cryptic posts, it was all pointing in one direction already. The tour announcement didn't start the freeze, it just put a stage light on it. Here's the thing about Gunna during all of this. He hasn't exactly been sitting around waiting for an invitation back. While Thug was locking in Quavo for 2026, Gunna was busy building something entirely his own, and it's been working. Back in the middle of last year, Gunna made his own kind of announcement, one that had nothing to do with reconciliation and everything to do with moving on. He announced a new album called The Last One, marking his final release with YSL Records, the label that had carried him from Atlanta's underground into global recognition in the first place. The reveal sparked instant buzz across the hip-hop community, and for good reason. This wasn't just another project. This was Gunna formally announcing. He was walking out the same door Thug had been quietly pushing him toward. Thug's response: not warm. Although Young Thug shared a post on social media, dismissing the album by his former friend, Gunna didn't slow down. The 25-track project delivered hit singles, Won't Stop and Him All Along, pulling in heavyweight collaborators including Offset, Wizkid, Asake, Burna Boy, and Nechi, a genuinely global guest list, one that had nothing to do with the Atlanta crew he'd left behind. That's not a small detail. Offset, Quavo's own former Migos partner turned rival, is on Gunna's final YSL album. Meanwhile, Quavo is the one Thug's bringing on tour. The lines connecting these guys are tangled in ways that would take a whiteboard to fully map out. For his part, Gunna steered clear of any direct conflict on the album, opting instead to offer fans party-ready tracks rather than diss records. He didn't need to fire back with bars. His numbers were doing enough talking. And the numbers back up why Gunna doesn't sound worried about being left off a tour lineup. Coming up under Thug's YSL banner, he broke out alongside Lil Baby on 2018's Drip Harder, and his solo run since then includes 2 Billboard 200 #1 albums, Wuna and DS4 Ever, plus culture-shaping singles like Pushin' P and Fukumian. This is not a guy whose career depends on being someone's opening act. If anything, the roles have started to flip. Gunna announced his own global run, the One World Tour, and it's not some modest club circuit. It kicked off a run of North American shows beginning in Boston, moving through Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and on to Gunna's first ever headlining show at Madison Square Garden. From there, the tour hit Toronto, Miami, Tampa, Atlanta, Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, before picking back up internationally with dates in Cape Town and Johannesburg. and a stop on the Rolling Loud lineup in both Sydney and Melbourne. Read that list again. Madison Square Garden, South Africa, Australia. That's not the schedule of a man who got iced out and folded. That's the schedule of someone who took the freeze and turned it into fuel. Beyond standout sets on The Tonight Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live, his rarity and artistry separates him from the rest. And it's carried him to a level where he's not chasing features from his old crew. He's headlining arenas without them. His run of albums, one after another, kept landing high on the charts regardless of what was happening in his personal relationships. He maintained that momentum with a gift and a curse, which marked his fourth straight #1 debut on both the top R&B hip-hop albums chart and top rap albums chart. So while Thug was on a live stream explaining why reconciliation wasn't happening, Gunna was somewhere between Johannesburg and Melbourne, playing sold-out rooms, full of people singing his songs back to him, the same songs Thug once muted out of his own setlist. That contrast is really the whole story in miniature. One guy naming his tour opener and dismissing his old partner in the same breath. The other guy quietly stacking headline shows across 3 continents, never once needing to answer whether he was heard about it in public. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, because Gunna and Thug aren't the only 2 people affected by this freeze, and their friends have started getting tired of watching it play out. If you want to know how deep this rift actually runs, look at who's been trying to fix it. Because it's not Thug, it's not Gunna, it's 21 Savage. Late last year, 21 Savage decided he'd had enough of watching 2 people he considers family stay frozen out over something he felt should have been squashed years ago. Looking to play peacemaker, the Slaughter Gang boss called for Young Thug and Gunna to end their long-standing feud, taking to social media in a public plea that named both of them directly. His message wasn't soft. Y'all ends fix that shit. Y'all love each other, N.A. You knew Gunna wasn't no gangster when he told the first time, and we swept it under the rug for you. You know he wasn't trying to leave you to hang, Anna. FK the streets we ain't get shit, but trauma from that shit, he wrote. That's not a fan begging for a reunion tape. That's someone from inside the circle, someone who lived through the Rico case's fallout alongside them, saying the whole thing has cost everyone more pain than it's worth. 21 Savage didn't stop at Thug and Gunna either. He turned his attention to Lil Baby next, the same artist who'd publicly gone at Gunna years earlier, telling him it was time to let go of old positioning. He turned his focus to Lil Baby in an effort to iron out the issues between Baby, Thug, and Gunna, writing, "You one of the realest young ends out this shit, admit Slime was moving the goalpost, and we was standing behind him cause we love him, my brother." And then in a detail that connects every thread of this story back together, 21 Savage revealed something about Quavo too. Looking to restore unity in Atlanta, he also attempted to have Migos reunite, revealing he had a group text with Offset and Quavo where he tried to get them to communicate before their own feud reached a boiling point. At Quavo stunt and Offset y'all ends, tell the world I put y'all on group text, and told y'all squash it before it even got far NA. If y'all was still together, y'all would be unstoppable, he continued. So the same man now touring with Thug, the man handed the opener slot that once would have belonged to Gunna without question. Quavo has his own set of scars from public falling outs. One's 21 Savage was trying to patch up long before this Thug situation ever became a headline. Atlanta's rap scene right now is a web of exactly this kind of unresolved static, and 21 Savage seems to be the only one actively trying to untangle it. His frustration wasn't just performative either. He pointed out how thankless the role of peacemaker actually is. Last year I was the realest NA for trying to stop Thug from exposing Gunna, now I'm fake lol, he added. A reminder that he'd been quietly working behind the scenes on this for longer than anyone realized, and getting little credit for it. Has any of it worked? The duo hasn't communicated much since their respective releases, and they haven't collaborated on any new music together either. The store incident with the muted song came after 21 Savage's public plea, not before it, meaning even a direct, emotional appeal from a mutual friend wasn't enough to thaw things out. Where that leaves things right now, Thug's heading into 2026 with a tour, an opener in Quavo, a song ready to perform live, and a flat no when asked about fixing things with Gunna. Gunna's got his own headline run stacked up, a closed chapter with YSL in his rearview, and a level of success that doesn't seem to be waiting on anyone's permission or feature verse. And in between them sits 21 Savage, still sending messages into a group chat that nobody on either side seems ready to answer the way he wants. The stage is set. The opener's locked in, and the seat that used to belong to Gunna is filled by someone else now. Whether that changes before the tour actually kicks off is the one thing nobody around Atlanta is willing to bet on.